Me and Tuff and Cody Lambert, Lane Frost, we all rodeoed in together. Back that truck up. And I set my reverse, and about that time he hit me right in the eyeball. I didn't think he was funny at all that day.
Yeah, so what you been doing?
I just had my boy all summer, and
Yeah.
had him for like six weeks.
Y'all hanging out?
Just hanging out. He's always played sports. He loved basketball and football.
Do you put him to work?
No, well, we do a little work, but he turned into a cowboy about a month ago. He had never been interested till maybe a month and a half ago. So we've just been riding horses and riding bucking machines and riding steers, and they worked a few times.
Did you tell me? Did I hear something? Is he 16?
15.
15.
Just turned 15 July 3rd.
So he's not driving yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
He'll be driving next year at this time.
He's not driving yet, but he's probably chasing girls. Maybe just a little.
Probably a little bit.
Yeah. But he didn't get that from you, probably.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
Dang. So are you excited or nervous that he's into bull riding?
Oh, I get a little nervous, I guess.
Yeah.
I never thought he was never interested at all. And all of a sudden, and day before yesterday, we was going to Ted Noose's to get on steers. Me and him was talking about we never thought we'd have a rigging bag in the back seat going to ride steers.
Yeah.
We was usually going to a basketball tournament or something.
Ted's got some real good practice stock, doesn't he?
He does.
Because his boys rodeo.
Yes, sir. His boys, they're a little bit older than Will. One of them's, I think, 16 and 18. Anyway, he has some real good stock for kids to get on.
So a month in, he's pretty. How many's he been on?
I think he's been on 10 steers.
Perfect.
We've been twice over there. He got on 5 steers each time.
Nice.
So
that seems like a lot for first time, compared to most people's first month. But I guess most guys starting out, their dads aren't Jim Sharp. So
yeah, he done pretty good. He first time we went, he hit the ground pretty hard a couple of times.
Really?
I thought, well, this might be it.
Yeah.
But he got on another one. So we'll see how far it goes, and
you bet
whatever he wants to do, I just give him the choice. Just because I ride bulls don't mean he's got to ride bulls.
Yes, sir.
And it's cool for me because he also likes the cattle working part of being a cowboy. So It was cool. We got to go flank calves together. He's just learning how to flank calves, and they had some litter calves that me and him could flank. So I think that's really cool because we can do that together for a long time.
Because you day work quite a bit now, don't you?
Yes, sir. I day work every chance I get.
You've probably got quite a list of people calling you for that since you've been in Stephenville for so long, and there's a lot of cow work to be done around there. So I mean that can keep a guy pretty busy.
Well, I do most of it up here around Wichita Falls.
Oh, really?
I don't know a lot of guys around Stephenville that run cattle.
Run cows.
There's a guy over at Comanche around that area in Gustine that I go help quite a bit. And Ty Murray, I go help him when he works his cattle.
You go with Corey Parker up there, any?
I do.
He does. I didn't know if he has a lot of stuff that he builds fence at my place for me, but I didn't know how much cow work he still does.
Yeah, he does a little. He runs a few cows, but he builds fence, and I don't know what all he does. He's always doing something, always trading something, trucks, trailers.
He's one of those guys. Yeah,
he is. Yeah.
What does he do for a living? I don't really know.
Yeah,
he seems to make it work.
Yeah, that's what my boy Will says. He says when he buys something, he buys 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah,
then he sells them. And then the next week he'll have different stuff at his house.
Yeah.
But yeah, Corey, he's a real good guy. They treat us. That's a great family. They treat us. I rent a house from him over there during the summer and all year round on the weekends. So
to be closer to your boy.
Yes, sir.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you get your pilot's license so you could spend that way? You could get back to be around your boy more.
Well, when he was a little baby, he lived in Oklahoma City. So when I lived in Stephenville. So I got me a lot easier to fly up there than to drive. So I kind of which I always wanted to be a pilot, but it sure was handy to have when he lived in Oklahoma City.
Yeah. I love that. Just like that kind of Yeah, that's a neat. Do you still fly a
I don't
lot?
fly very. I haven't flew in a while. I just not that interested in it anymore.
Man, I bet that would have been handy if you'd have been a pilot back when you were rodeoing, huh?
Yeah, which we had a plane, but we hired a pilot. I wasn't a pilot yet, but
Um, yeah. So now I'm thinking of them older stories. I heard one time, the door come open when you guys were flying, you and Lane and Cody and the whole crew were flying somewhere, and that door come off the plane.
hey, I just come open. It didn't come off the plane.
Or yeah,
It come open. But yeah,
how
that's
high were y'all when that happened?
oh, it's pretty good ways up there. I don't remember how high, but no
'Cause
matter how high you are, pretty much if a door opens, it's
it's
kind of
too high.
spooky. Yeah, it's too high.
Uh, didn't they think it was your fault or something?
I I don't even remember for sure.
Yeah, well, just the way Jerome was telling me the story that
Yeah,
you were messing around and for pressing buttons or something, and Cody thought for the longest for a minute he thought that you had opened it, but it ended up not being your fault that the door opened, but
yeah,
it ripped Lane's back number out and all that. Um, but I can't imagine the fear that would shoot through my body if a door on a plane opened while we were in the air.
yeah. That's
Did the
the first time I went solo when I was taking my flying lessons, I went around, made a couple landings with the instructor in the plane there.
Uh-huh.
Then he got out. He got out, and I was going to do it by myself for the first time.
Uh-huh.
And I took off, and I heard this banging against the plane. I didn't know what it was, but anyway, his seatbelt had flopped out, and it was on the outside. The metal part was on the outside of the plane. So
Oh,
when the
dang.
plane, so when the plane got in the air, I mean, it was beating up against the deal, and I'm thinking, I didn't know what to think. But
Yeah.
anyway, I circled around there and landed, and he come up to the plane and opened the door and threw his seatbelt back in, just kind of laughed and shut the door, and then I took off again.
Did was there not just like an oh crap moment flying, just like, hey, this could go completely haywire? Or was it more closer to bull riding and you just didn't think like that?
No, they're not really flying because really, I never got in any bad weather or anything like that. Always made sure the weather's good before I took off.
Right. When at what point in your guys' career did you start flying a lot? Or was there a point?
No, well, it was after I quit rodeoing when I got my license.
But I'm saying rodeoing, going down the road. Did you fly a lot like in the summertime?
Oh yes,
Did
sir.
you guys go?
Yes, sir. We flew most of the time. Well, when Lane was alive, we was me and Tuff and Cody Lambert, Lane Frost. We all rodeoed entered together, so we was up at the same rodeos. And Lane, he didn't like little planes, so we went commercial.
Mm,
We went commercial everywhere.
really?
We drove a little bit, but we flew most of the time,
Really? As much as you could.
much as we could. Then after Lane got killed, then me and Tuff bought a little airplane, a 310, seat 6 people. And we flew all over the United States in that, and we hired a pilot.
Dang. Did that just, I guess maybe it was cheap enough between the few of y'all? It just seems like it'd be so expensive to do these days. Was it a little, I mean, obviously it was cheaper then, but
It probably come out about the same. Me and Tuff, we owned the plane, but the guys that rode with us, we charged them by the mile or however we did it, and it come out pretty much about the same.
and plus it's not like you're traveling with guys that get bucked off very often. So you're
Yeah, well,
you're
yeah,
winning.
I was gonna say we were all winning.
Yeah.
Our whole carload or plane load, they always won, and I was lucky enough. By the time I was in the PRCA, I was a pretty good bull rider, so I could kind of stay up. But a lot of guys might not make it. If you wasn't winning, it was pretty expensive if you weren't winning
Yes, sir.
for a young guy to get in there and try to keep up with them guys.
Yeah, a guy can go broke pretty quick if you're bucking off.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, if you're just there for the vacation, I imagine getting in a plane, to go to rodeos can get pretty pricey.
oh yes, sir, it can.
Well, backing up, talking about traveling partners, when you got to Odessa, it was mainly you and Ty, correct?
Well, when Ty come along, when I was a rookie, or from '86 to '88, it was myself and Tuff and Cody and Lane. And then when Ty come along in '89, or he come along in '88, I guess, and Ty and Cody started rodeoing together.
Mm.
And so we picked up Clint Bronger, and Clint Bronger rodeoed with us. And when Lane got killed, there's several guys that rodeoed with us like for a year. Michael Gaffney rodeoed with us for a year. David Bailey Jr.
Norman
rodeoed with us a year. So just had a few different guys.
Yes, sir. So what year were you at Odessa?
I was there from 85, 6, and 7.
And was Ty there at the same time?
No, Ty come in '88.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, he took my spot. They gave a scholarship, full scholarship to one cowboy, and he took my spot, and then he come to Odessa College.
Gotcha. For some reason, I thought y'all were there at the same time.
Which I stayed there for a couple of years after. We were there, but we weren't in school. We lived together for a couple of years there at Odessa.
Maybe that's what it was.
He was in school. I wasn't in school. I was just rodeoing. And then me and him moved to Stephenville. That's how we ended up in Stephenville.
Yes, sir. You went from Odessa to Stephenville. You've been there that long.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Gotcha.
we moved from Odessa to. We decided we were just gonna move one day. We went and got us a U-Haul, loaded it all up, and took off down Interstate 20. We ended up that evening at Fort Worth, and we got us a hotel room there. The next day we rented a house in Benbrook. It's right outside of Fort Worth.
Uh-huh.
We lived there for 6 months. Then Ty bought a place in Stephenville. We ended up moving there, and then I lived with him for a year or so. And then I built me a house over there at Stephenville. I've been there ever since.
What year would that have been?
That would have been, I think that was in '89. Maybe 90.
Was it beginning to be the quote unquote cowboy capital of the world at that time?
It was.
Really?
It was Stephenville. It was cowboy capital, or what they say, way before we got there.
Really?
There's always been a bunch of cowboys there at Stephenville.
Yeah.
The bareback rider Jack Ward. Ty bought Jack Ward's old place.
Okay.
When he first moved to Stephenville. There's always been a bunch of cowboys from around that area.
What is it? Is it Bandera? Don't let anybody from Bandera hear that they say they claim to be cowboy capital of the world.
I think so. I think Bandera, and I think there's Oakdale maybe out in California that claim it. But
yeah. And then Pecos. What do they call Pecos? Pecos is Pecos the oldest?
Well, they say it's the oldest rodeo west of the Pecos Rodeo, but I don't really know for sure.
Yeah.
Prescott claims that too, so I'm not sure how that works.
A lot of it's kind of like the claims of world's greatest bull rider. Everybody says it's either you or Dale or JB Mooney.
I bet it's Dale.
Yeah, probably.
I'd probably say Dale.
That's what the most people say.
Yeah. I think he gets over 90% of the vote.
Speaking of Ted Noose, I remember me and you and Ted headed to a Mexican food restaurant in Stephenville, and I asked you, I said, you ever heard of that Dale Brisby? And you were like, I said, and you kind of shook your head. I was like, what, world's greatest bull rider? Later, you said, he must not be that good. I've never heard of him.
Yeah, I didn't have a clue. Yeah, you asked me a couple of times.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, Dale, I know, I mean, I've never heard of him. I've been around bull riding for a long time. I still remember that.
Yeah.
Because you asked me more than one. You asked me 2 or 3 times, you ever heard of Dale Brisby?
Yeah.
I said, no. You said, that was pretty funny, and I remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember that was at that Craig Cameron challenge.
Yeah, that's right.
Challenge.
Yeah, Craig Cameron's
Anyway,
deal.
It's pretty funny, but I was getting my butt kicked at that competition.
Yeah, me too.
And I didn't think he was funny at all that day. I'm trying to win. I'm getting my butt kicked, so I'm in a bad mood anyway. And this guy over here trying to be funny. And then after it's all over and you come out and that's when you first started.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, probably. Yeah, because I never heard of Dale Brisby. Remember?
Yeah, and you said, yeah, he must not be that good. I never heard of him.
Yeah, but yeah, and then when I got, I guess I got used to getting my butt kicked that week, and I could see the humor in you.
Those guys from like, I don't know where they're from. They're wearing those red shirts.
Missouri, I think.
Missouri or Mississippi or something over there. They were, man, they had some good horses and yeah.
Yeah, them guys, I did it another time. Them guys come back and they want it again.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
They ought to have some type of rule. You win it, you can't come back or something.
Yeah. They work good together. There's good cowboys and good guys.
It was a fun deal to do.
It was fun. I've done it 3 times and it's really fun.
Yeah. How long you known Craig?
I've known Craig. I've known him a few years, for a pretty long time.
He was kind of done riding bulls by the time you were on the scene, right?
He was.
Yeah.
By the time I met him, he was already done bull riding. He was already into his horse training type deal.
Yes, sir.
But he's a great guy to be around.
Yep.
Yeah, he's one of them guys, if you're in a bad mood, you get around him, you're in a good mood.
Yeah.
He's just one of them guys. But Ty Murray introduced me to Craig. I went to one of his little clinics, and I had a blast at it.
Yeah, I went there. I'd been to a clinic with my dad of his, and then I went and spent a summer there when I was 13 years old. And then I went back and spent another summer. And anyhow, just because my dad felt like none of it soaked in the first summer.
Yeah.
And I think he liked getting a break from me being goofy. But no, Craig was, for those couple summers, he was like a father figure to me. It was neat to be around him, but he did have some old rodeo stories. Those were cool to listen to. But I'm curious, it sounds like Odessa was just a rodeo. If y'all weren't rodeoing, then y'all were just having a good time. Was there a bucket machine or something?
Oh yeah, we had a bucket machine. It was.
What a podcast. We've got the world's greatest bull rider as well as Jim Sharp in the house. Hey, check out ranchfuel.com. And when you're getting your ranch fuel, agave lime, whatever flavor you like, they're all good. Get 30% off right now. Use code DALE. You'll get an additional 15% off. They're stackable discounts. That's 45% off as well as free shipping. Got to use code DALE. ranchfuel.com. Also, check out rodeotime.com for a deal you can feel on the greatest apparel line known to man.
I don't even remember where we got that. Well, no, there's a guy named Kerry Brantley that his uncle had it. His name was Ron Law. He was from Stephenville, and he built this homemade bucking machine that was on a trailer, and it was when the axle turned, the barrel went up and down.
Ooh.
And it was built, and they had like welded some, like a neck on it. It was for bronc riding.
Mm.
And, you just hook it onto your truck and you just kind of idle. It's the fastest you could go.
Let it roll forward.
And that'd make the barrel go up and down. And buck just like a bronc. It was great, but you could only go so fast. And yeah, we like to kill the guy on there one night.
Yeah, it was like, were you on the way to the bar or on the way home from it?
No, we was having a party. We was having a party at our house. We called it the Bronco House. We had some pretty good parties there. But anyway, this friend of mine from Kermit, he was over, and we was having this party, and there's this other guy. I never seen this other guy. He's over there, and he's bragging about, he could ride bulls or broncs or whatever. And anyway, we said, well, we got to get this barrel out here. You want to get on it? Oh, sure, I'll get on it. And this friend of mine, he already didn't like that guy. And I said, yeah, we'll put him on there, but don't let, this guy's name was Jim too, that was mad at this guy. I said, don't let Jim drive, whatever you do. Anyway, we get this guy all up there, and Jim, he kind of sneaks around and get in the driver's seat. As soon as we get that guy up there, we just kind of step back. And I mean, he goes just takes off as fast as he can.
Ooh.
I mean, that bucking barrel's going 1,000 miles an hour. That guy goes over the front end of it, and the trailer runs over him. I don't know. And anyway, we get him up, and he's actually kind of crying. And he had like them little shoes on. And shoes fell off, and was in the alley, so it just scraped him all up. And he said, "Just take me home." So we loaded him up, took him home, dropped him off at some apartment, and never heard from him since. So I don't know whatever happened to him.
Yeah, Jim called his bluff on whether or not he was a bull rider, I guess,
Oh,
or
yeah.
bronc rider.
Yeah, but it's pretty good. I mean, it was a good practice for bronc riding.
The forward motion, I guess, is the main thing with those bucking machines. That's what you don't get, but it sounds like y'all had that with that one.
Yeah, and then it had a flat tire. It had a flat tire one time, and we had a gas station right across the street from the Bronco house. And we lived on a busy road, and Ty was driving, and I jumped on it. I said, "I'll ride it across the road to get it." And it had a flat tire anyway, so when it had a flat tire, that axle would hit the ground. So anyway, I get up there, and Ty, he's driving, and he's waiting on all the traffic to go by to get a spot so he can jump across the road and get some air in the tire. I'm back there, and he gets a little opening. I mean, he just floors it too. And I mean, this fucking machine's going like that. And it's jerking me. Ty said he looked back there in the rearview mirror, and it said it looked like my hat was going like that in the top of my hat. My head was going like that in the top of my hat.
Dang.
But we always had stories. Well, we was in college, so we was always doing something like that.
Did you ride broncs?
I did ride a few broncs, and I started, I think when I was sophomore in high school. I rode through high school and rode through college.
And then just not in PRCA?
I did ride one year in PRCA. My rookie year, I rode 86, and then I pulled my groin in 87, and I quit riding broncs. And when I went back to riding, I just rode bulls. I never did start back.
Because that was where the money maker was.
It was, and Ty borrowed my saddle because his broke, so I didn't have a saddle. And he was riding it. He really liked my saddle, so and I never started back. And
dang, maybe fate would have been different if you'd have told him no. All these years.
I might have had 7 world championship all-around titles.
You might have been the all-around.
I might have been if I'd had a saddle.
Had gummit, Ty? You're welcome.
Yeah.
Maybe he owes you for that.
I know it. I told him I should have just told him, yeah, you use my saddle, but I get a percentage of what you win in
There you go. How long did he ride it?
He rode it for a long time until it broke.
What kind was it back then?
I think it was something like a G-bar G or something.
Was it?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bought it from a calf roper in Florida, a guy named D.R. Daniels.
Mm.
And when Ty, something happened to his, and I let him use mine, and he rode it for a long time until it broke. And I guess he still got it. But he bought me a brand new saddle.
Yeah, to replace it.
Yeah.
Man, I did not realize you had been in Stephenville that long. That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's changed a lot.
Oh, it has a lot. There's a lot more people there now. It's crazy how much it's grown.
Yeah. It's wild just hearing different, when, no offense to Bandera or the place, I can't remember where you said in California. Some people said Utah, but the cowboy capital of the world. We went to the last place I saw you at. We were at Jagger's birthday party, and Jagger Mooney, and between all the people there, I lost count at 35 gold buckles.
Yeah.
Between all of JB's friends. And this is just a 5-year-old's birthday party that we were all at. And everybody was, went home that night. It's not like people flew in for it, and there were that many gold buckles and just right outside of Stephenville. And that blew my mind just looking around at everybody that was there. And, but it's been like that for a while, apparently.
Right. Yeah. If you made a list of all the rodeo cowboys in Stephenville over the last 50 years, probably, it'd be a long list. And there'd be a lot of gold buckles on there, a lot of good cowboys.
And maybe that's why there's not quite as much cow work. It's so many rodeo cowboys that, it's 20 acres with an arena on it. and they might rope or buck stock, but it's less cow work and more rodeo.
You know, that's the guys I know. Is seems like around Stephenville is rodeo cowboys, like you said, but up here around Wichita Falls, it seems like there's a lot of more working ranch cowboys up here. You know, all the places I go, you know, drag their calves and, you know, do it the old
Yes,
school
sir.
way.
The country is much different. The grass and the up here. I mean,
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the further you get up here, it seems like you kind of have to gather cows a certain way,
Yes, sir.
and then it seems I agree with you. It seems like there's a certain way that guys will drag and brand calves as you get further this direction. Man, back in the day, so when you how did you come about getting introduced to Tough? Because it seems like you and him hit it off.
Yeah, I knew Tough. I didn't really know him. I just knew of him through the junior rodeos. He went to there's AJRA rodeos that we grew when I was a kid. Everybody went to those. That's how you got your start.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I knew Tough through that. I didn't really know him. I just knew of him.
Yeah, one of the
and then
guys.
when I was in college, he was the big time bull rider when I was in college. But I didn't really know him until he asked me if I wanted to travel with him.
Mm.
And I went the first probably 3 months of the rodeo season. I entered with my cousin. I have a cousin up in Bonham named Jackie Gibbs. Me and him rodeoed a little bit, but he didn't want to rodeo as hard as I did. So anyway, I think we was at Lubbock, and I was up at the same time as Tough, and he asked me there. He said, "You want to start rodeoing with us?" I thought, I mean, that's like kid that like play basketball. If Michael Jordan said, "Hey, you want to come play basketball with us?"
Right.
And so from then on, I rodeo. It was like I said, it was Tough and Lane and Cody at that time, and I started going with them. We entered everywhere together.
How much of the bull rider that you were do you attribute to being in the car with those guys?
Uh,
Or were you kind of already doing your own thing and you just jumped in with them?
yeah, I just kind of jumped in with them. I think because I knew how to ride bulls. Them entering me was probably a big deal. Because I didn't have to do nothing. Cody did all the entering.
Yeah.
All I had to do is show up and get in the car and go. But I waited till I was 20 to get my card.
Really?
I rode in AJRA. I was going to junior rodeo. I was going to amateur rodeos. And I won the AJRA when I was 17. And I wanted to win it when I was 18, 19. I wanted to win it all them years, just see if I could do it. So I waited to get my card until I was 20. And by the time I got there, I was pretty seasoned bull rider. I'd get on 100 bulls a year. And I'd go to a lot of Terry Walls rodeos, and he had really good bulls. So I was getting on some high quality bulls, bulls that were really were really good bulls.
Yes, sir.
So by the time I got there, I knew how to ride, and I'd been on a lot of bulls.
Did you go during that time to many Charlie Thompson deals?
I did. I went a lot of Charlie Thompson bull ridings and rodeos.
My dad, I think he would have been slowing down around that time, but he picked up for him for a while.
Well, I knew he picked up for him. And, I was telling Will yesterday, my son, I said, Dale's dad probably picked me up a few times when I was in the bronc riding.
Yeah.
Because I'd go to a lot of Charlie's rodeos, and I'd enter the saddle bronc riding too.
I remember him talking about it a little bit. I'd love to ask him now, but, but.
Yeah, that's my dad too. He's gone now. And
really?
I wish I could. There's a lot of things I'd like to ask you.
Yeah.
But I knew your dad. I knew of your dad. And I guess maybe his brother.
Yes, Scotty.
Scott?
Yes, sir.
And I don't remember if it's your dad, Colt, or Scotty, that one of them used to help me in the steer riding
Mm.
when I was 12 and under steer riding.
Okay.
Like if I had a kind of wild steer in the chute, they'd get down in the chute and hold him
Yes,
for
sir.
me until I was
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure which one it was. I want to say it was Scotty, but
Yeah, it very
But-
well. They were both around Charlie's crew around that time. My dad stayed the longest, but Scott was always there too.
yeah.
And they would go.
Did Scott ride? Did Scott ride bulls?
He,
Or
I
did
know he did because I've got some of his old equipment,
Yeah.
but I don't know to what extent. He passed also.
Okay. I didn't know. This was like when I was under 12 or under, when this
Yes, sir.
happened. But I remember the names
Yes,
from
sir.
way back then because I remember one of them used to help me in the steer riding.
Yes, sir.
So I didn't.
Yeah, Scott was, he was always a little more prone, from the stories I hear, to get in fights than my dad was. But it seems like all you guys back then would fight some, but my uncle would fight the most. And then there was another guy that ran around there who probably does have the answer to all these questions outside of Charlie, obviously, but Wendell Culp. He would pick up a lot, and he was just a pickup man. He didn't ride or anything, but real tall. They called him Stretch, and I talked to Wendell still a lot. And Bryce Chapman. I don't know if you remember
I don't
him.
know Bryce, but
He
I
was-
know Wendell.
Yep,
It's a funny story. I worked cattle for Wendell at
Indian Canyon.
Indian Canyon, and I hadn't seen him since I remember him from way back when in the steer riding, and I went and worked for him. I kept looking at him thinking, I know this guy from somewhere.
Yeah.
And so anyway, after we worked cattle, we was just sitting around talking one night, and he said something about picking up for Kelly Brothers. There used to be a rodeo put on junior rodeo, and he said something about Kelly Brothers, and I said, when did you pick up for Kelly Brothers? And he said, when you was in the steer riding, 12 and under steer riding. I said, I knew you from somewhere, because I remember him because he was so tall, and I was a little old bitty kid, and he'd come back behind the bucking chutes, with his pickup shafts and
Yep.
big old tall guy, and he was like Superman back then,
Right.
So cool, to see them guys come back, that picked up and stuff. But yeah,
My dad used to say when he and Wendell were picking up, he always thought Wendell could go be a pickup, like easily. He felt that Wendell was good enough to go pick up at the NFR.
Yeah.
He just didn't really happen to have whatever rodeos or however you got to the NFR, but he always talked of Wendell having that caliber of talent and be able to put a horse somewhere. And but tough old hombre, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So
Nice man.
yes, sir.
Yeah. He's Wendell. He is.
Yeah. That but yeah, Terry Walls, and my dad picked up a few times for Terry, and that's what made me think of that. But man, when did Terry Walls pass? That was maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah,
4
probably
years ago,
4 or 5 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah,
But-
he that because I've got a brother, and Terry told one of the bullfighters a couple years before he passed. He was like, "Yeah, I knew Coke, and he's got a couple sons, and that one is pretty cool. I like him, but that other one, he's a little odd." He's talking about me.
About you? Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Did Scotty? Did he pick up too?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of pictures of them both picking up together.
Yeah.
So
Was your dad older, or was Scotty?
he was I think a year older.
Just a year older.
Just a year.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking because maybe Scotty was picking up there, but I was thinking he rode barebacks or bulls or something.
He
Why-
sure
why-
I know
why
he,
he
like
was-
I said.
Yeah, because it was at the junior rodeos.
Yes,
How
sir.
old would it? How old was your dad? What are you
Um,
being right now?
He passed 11 years ago when he was 55, so he'd
Okay.
be 66.
66.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So-
they'd been teenagers when I was in 12 and under,
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, 8 years older than me.
Yeah, so Scotty would have been 65, and Yeah, that'd be about the age to jump down and help a
Yeah.
steer rider for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. And then Charlie is just still going.
I know it. Yeah.
He's
I
still-
see. I don't ever see him anymore, but I see his stuff on Facebook, his broncs and stuff, pictures of him,
Right.
videos of his horses. Yeah. But yeah, I've known Charlie for long. I used to go to a lot of, or most all of his amateur rodeos. Then he put the midwinter bull riding on, and I always went to that. Then he put Dos Amigos on in Odessa. He'd have it every
Right.
Sunday for certain times of the year. So
Look-
I've known him for a long, long time.
The winter series seemed to be a good spot for guys.
Oh yeah, we used to go. That's where we'd go. Before I got in the pros, I'd go to Billy Bob's on Friday. They had a bull riding there at Billy Bob's. I go there on Friday, and then I come to Lubbock on Saturday for Charlie's midwinter. That'd be my round during the winter time.
Just because obviously rodeos everywhere else slowed down.
Right. During the winter, there's pretty slow.
Yeah, my dad talked about, like, he remembers like it was the first rodeo back after the NFR, and there'd been 20 calf. He was talking about the calf roping specifically, but there's like 12 of the 15 NFR calf ropers were at that winter series. But he said it was always a spot where, because he college rodeoed with Tuff's sister. Didn't Tuff have a sister?
He does.
Yeah, but he that's where he was talking about. I remember him telling stories about you guys showing up at because he would fight bulls too, and I got a couple pictures where they're in that old that building where the deal is.
Yeah.
So whenever you take off down the road with Tuff and Lane and those guys, what were the similarities that you all had that made you click? Like, what was it about that group of bull riders that made you all get along so well? Because I know Tuff talks about the years that you all, it was like your crew won the world like 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
It was someone from y'all's team going down the road. And I'm just curious what it was like to be in that rig.
I don't know. I guess we just all wanted to win it so bad because, I mean, we was all a little different, of what we like to do. And besides rodeo, I rode bulls. I worked out all the time, and Tuff, he never picked up a weight in his life. And I don't know. We're all kind of different. I guess maybe that's what made us click.
You had just enough uniqueness about each of you that you didn't. Did Lane work out?
He worked out a little bit. Yeah, Lane did. I don't know. All them guys are just, there's just all kind of like the JB Moonies,
Mm-hmm.
They were all tough. Lane and Tuff. I mean, they were tough, and they wanted to ride the best bulls in the world. And back then we didn't get to pick our bulls, but I'm pretty sure that they was going to pick the best bull in the draw.
Yeah.
Every time.
Just like how JB does.
Just like how JB does.
Yeah.
I mean, which JB's a great, great bull rider. And
seems like you've always had a lot of respect for his way of going about it.
no, I have. I mean, because that's the way we got the guys I rodeo with was, Tuff and Lane and Justin McBride, Chris Shivers, all them guys. They were all like JB,
Mm-hmm.
except you didn't see it because they didn't get to pick their bulls.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah.
But if they did, they were going to pick whatever
Right.
was rankest bull in there.
When was the first time that guys were able to pick their bulls?
I don't even remember. I don't even remember what year they started doing that. It was way after me.
Yes, sir.
So
I just had it's kind of random, but thinking back to those early days, the late 80s, early 90s, like you guys were going with no vests. Once you did, like how did you feel about that transition into riding with a vest on?
For myself, I was fine with it because a vest to me was pretty cowboyish, Western looking.
Yeah.
It just looked, because a lot of cowboys wear vests, but, and it's protected. So it wasn't that big a deal. I never wore a helmet, but I don't think I would have liked a helmet.
Did it seem as though when vests first started getting worn, were there a lot of guys kind of pushing back, feeling like it wasn't cowboy, I guess?
No, I don't remember that.
Really?
Once they come out, they pretty much, everybody started wearing them, and I don't ever remember it being a big deal.
But then the helmets, so that was maybe coming on the scene the latter part of your career.
Latter part of it, I guess. The only time anybody ever wore a helmet, if they got hurt, they had a head injury where they had to have a helmet for maybe a while or something, or some of them put it on when they got on Bodacious, but it was later on.
Did you ever get on that one?
Bodacious, I did get on Bodacious. I never did ride him, but I got on him 3 or 4 times. But yeah, he's a bad cat.
Speaking of getting on him, did you get him on? You get on him at the NFR?
I did one time.
Yes, sir. Was it 27 in a row that you rode at the NFR?
20, maybe 23 or something like that.
Okay. That's I mean, that's got to be the record, right? Nobody's ridden more in a row than you have.
No, sir, nobody's has.
And then wasn't it like was it 10 or 11 bulls out of like 200? You rode out of 200 outs, you only got bucked off at like 10 of them or something like that?
No, not that good. Well, probably the best record I had was I got on 213 bulls, and I rode 197 of them.
Golly.
So I got bucked off 16 times out of 213.
Man. And that was, I mean, no matter what area you're in, that was just unheard of. And that was when you were in the PRCA, correct?
Right.
Wow.
Well, it'd been like PRCA and open bull ridings, Del Rio and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just every bull I got. I mean, and some of them just be little jackpots, around Stephenville. I just counted every bull that I got on for money, which that's pretty much all I got on.
Right.
But yeah, that's my best record of any year. I think that was 86, my rookie year.
Was it? And then you won the world, was it 80?
In 88.
88.
Yes, sir.
You said you really usually only got on for money. Did you not get on a lot of practice bulls?
No, I never did get on very many practice bulls. When I was a kid riding calves, I just ride calves. That's how I got started. But once I started entering, that's all. I just get on at the rodeos. We didn't have no steers to get on when it was just me and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I got on at the rodeo, that's what I got on. And I got good enough to ride the steers, and I do good. And when I jumped up to junior bulls, I couldn't stay on them, but then I got to where I could stay on them, and I won a championship when I was 15. When I turned 16, moved up to the bigger bulls, senior bulls, I couldn't stay on them. And then when I was 17, everything come together.
Really?
And I could ride the top. I could ride the really good bulls.
So, having laid that type of foundation, like is that maybe what attributed to you not having to get on practice bull? I mean, if you're riding 196, 197 out of 213, that's why risk getting on in a practice pen. But you had years of a foundation of getting on calves and steers.
Right. I think so. I think, because, I knew how to ride. It was just the only time I ever got bucked off was probably from lack of effort, maybe, I'd always get off a bull and, say if I would have done this, I would have rode him. I didn't get over there, which, like I should have.
Yes, sir. I guess I'm angling for maybe what your perspective is, like, or advice might be to, well, for instance, maybe your son. Like, would you encourage young bull riders today to get on practice bulls, or do you?
I would if it's the right kind of practice bulls. I think too many guys today, a lot of them pretty good bull riders, when they're 18, they want their PBR card or they want to go pro at 18. And to me, there's not very many 18-year-olds that are ready to go. You know, I can think of one, John Crimber,
Yeah.
you know, but what other 18-year-old you know that can ride like that?
Yes, sir.
I think a lot of kids jump into it, you know, before they're ready. You know, before him, it was probably J.B. Mooney
Right.
was the last 18-year-old that could jump into it like that. And that was 15 years ago.
Long time ago. Yes, sir.
I think if some guys would wait a little bit longer, get on some more bulls, and you know, instead of just jumping just because they're 18, so they jump into them real rank bulls every week.
What so you wouldn't be opposed to those kind of guys? Like, what would you encourage, you know, those 18-year-olds to do? Maybe kind of stick around the open bull ridings and amateur rodeos just until they know they're ready. You know, would you need to dominate a certain level before you move on to the next one?
I think you do.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I don't go to a lot of events anymore, so you know, I don't know the difference between the amateur bull and the pros, but I'm sure there're just some nicer bulls in the amateur rodeos.
Hopefully, ideally.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll have some rank ones.
Yeah. Well, you know, there'll always be some, but you're not getting on them. You can get on some bulls get on some good bulls. And when you can stay on 80% of them, maybe, you know, then go to the pros or something.
Yes, sir. Did you always have a goal set for that year? So because it sounds like when you were, you know, 18, 19, going for the AJRA, you know, title that year, it sounds like you were pretty goal oriented. Did that carry on?
Yeah, well, you know, it's everybody's goal to be world champion and ride all 10 bulls. So, you know, that was a big goal of mine. I guess after I won my second one, that's when I rode best from 86 to 92. And I got hurt in 93. And I pulled my groin and fought my groins for a long time. And I don't know, I just never did come back as strong as I did. But I guess after I won a couple, I wasn't near as hungry as I was before then. And that's why I think like Donnie Gay and, you know, won 8 world championships. I'm thinking, you know, that takes a lot. That takes a lot to win that many, you know, to have the desire to go out there and get that many. You know, I rode for a long time, but there are a few years, you know, I was just an average bull rider.
When did you quit riding bulls?
Well, I quit riding bulls in 2003, but I was still getting on in 2005. Just couldn't stay on them.
Just not riding them.
Yeah.
Well, that's a long time past 93.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's what I say. For the next 10 years, I was just a pretty average bull rider.
When did you guys sell the PBR? What year was that?
92.
So you kept going for a pretty good ways after that. What was that like, getting that phone call?
Oh, that's pretty exciting. You know, Ty called me up and he said, you know, told me what was going to happen. I said, well, that's awesome, but I don't have the check in my hand yet. So
what were you doing at the time?
Well, I mean, that was in 92. I mean, that's when it started. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when the PBR came along in 92, I started going, I rodeoed a little bit, and I'd go to mostly to the PBR bull ridings.
And then it officially sold in what year?
07.
Was it?
07, I believe. I think it was 15 years later it sold. And I rode, my last bull was 2005, and it sold in 2007. So I poured concrete in between them times.
And then what did that phone call? What was that one?
Yeah, that's
like?
That's what I thought you were talking about a while ago. But yeah, Ty called me and said you're gonna be a millionaire, I think. So that's pretty exciting. But
was that the end of your concrete?
It was
pouring days.
Yeah, I I retired from concrete pouring that day.
Yeah.
Like to thank our sponsors, American Hats, Rock and Roll Denim, Total Feeds, Can-Am Side-by-Side, and Mountain Ops Supplements. Y'all check those out right now. Get a deal you can feel. American Hat, you got to wear them. Otherwise, you ain't no cowboy. Rock and Roll Denim, it's what I use to spur bulls. Can-Am Side-by-Sides, that's what we feed in every morning. Get a Defender with the cab. Total Feeds, that's what powers Boone. And then Mountain Ops Supplements, that's where I get that little extra kick of protein I need every day.
Well, I did wait a couple of weeks because he told me that, and then I didn't have the check yet, so
Yeah.
I said I better go ahead and work till I got the.
Wait till it's official.
Then I waited, and then I called my boss and said, "I think I'm gonna retire next week. I'm gonna go ahead and take it. I'm gonna go ahead and take the chance on this last week."
Yeah.
Go ahead, but I had a really good boss, and he's good to work for.
Yeah.
We always joke about it.
Yeah. Like, hey, I'm gonna quit, but if I need any concrete poured, I'm gonna call you. I'll give you some business.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said, if you ever need any help, just give me a holler. I'll call around, see if I can find somebody to help you. I'm done.
Oh man. But you from rodeoing though, I just assumed, I guess I thought part of the story was when you guys had sold the PBR, that's when you all moved to Stephenville, but you already had your place built and everything.
Oh
by
yeah,
then.
that was way after.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was way after because I built my house like in 1990 in Stephenville.
Super cool. What was it like just going through the process of building the PBR to what it was before it sold?
Well, I pretty much just had to show up and ride. I never was on the board or anything like that. Tufts, the reason it started. I mean, he did a lot. And there's a guy named Sam Applebaum that helped get it going. And then Randy Bernard come in there and got it really going.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have any part of the business part of it. My job was just show up at all the bull ridings and ride.
And it was it 20 of you guys early on?
About 20 of us. I don't know exact number, but about 20 of us.
Yes,
We
sir.
all put in like $1,000 and started it.
Pretty good investment.
It was a good investment. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty good. What is it? ROI, return on investment. That's a pretty good ROI.
Yeah. I feel very lucky, to have that come along, especially with my boy, now
Mm-hmm.
I can go do what I want to with him when I want to.
Yeah.
I can go day work when I want to.
Go be on Dale Brisby's podcast whenever you want to.
Whenever, yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yeah.
We were talking about going on it, and you were like, well, I got Thursday, Friday, Sunday open. I was like, you gave me options. I was like, man, this guy sets his own schedule.
Yeah.
So I heard Jerome told me to ask you about the best mechanic in Stephenville.
Oh, yeah.
He said you knew a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's one of them back in their wilder days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Well, we'd been out partying, and anyway, we was gonna go to this party after we'd been up there at the bar at Stephenville, and we was gonna go to this party over at an apartment over there. And I pulled up there, and there's a guy, and he had a trailer, and he wanted me to back up, and I thought, well, he could probably back up, which is my fault. I should have got. He had a trailer, but anyway, he hollered over and said, "Back that truck up." And I said, "My reverse is broke." Then he hollered louder, "Back that truck up." I hollered out, "My reverse is broke." And he started walking over there to me, and the closer he got, the bigger he got. I mean, this guy was big. He come up to the window and he said, "Back that truck up." And I said, "My reverse." And about that time, he hit me right in the eyeball. Anyway, there's a little guy named Mitch with us, and Aaron Seamus was on the passenger side.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, I was bleeding. And anyway, Mitch said, he told Aaron, he said, "Lay me out." And Aaron said, "Mitch, he'll kill you. You get out." He said, "No, let me out before he hits me." Anyway, next week, I seen him over at another party, and he was across the room over there. And I hollered at him. I said, "Hey," And after we become friends after this. Anyway, he said, "Yeah." He looked over and he said, "Oh, there's that little bull rider again. I'm gonna have to beat him up again." Anyway, I went over and I said, "Hey," I said, "How's your transmission shop doing?" And he said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "My truck's worked fine ever since you fixed my reverse." Anyway, we started calling that guy Reverse.
Yeah.
Anyway, me and him become pretty good friends, and I mean, he was a big old guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best mechanic in Stephenville.
Yeah, best
Oh,
mechanic, Stephenville.
look at that. My reverse works.
Yeah.
Was it just seems like hearing my dad talk and talking to different guys that it was just a regular thing for you guys to all get in a fight.
No, not really. I think,
Maybe we've built it up in our heads.
yeah, I think like we never did really fight that much. Seems like the guys before us, the Cowboys before us, seemed like they fought a lot more than we did. But
maybe it was just you guys were the generation on their way out.
yeah, I guess so. You know, I'm not a fighter. I rather get along with everybody, and
Yeah.
you know, that night, I deserved to get punched in the eye.
Yeah.
I should have just backed my truck up and
Yeah.
it'd been fine. But
Being sassy.
I guess sometimes when you're young, you do dumb stuff, and that was one of them.
Right. Tough talks about Clint being maybe the best bull rider that never won a world title.
Best one I ever seen that never won a world title.
Yeah. What was how long was he in the rig with you guys?
He's in there for quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed he'd ride better than any of us all year. Then he just seemed like he always lost it at the finals.
Yeah.
But yeah, he could really ride ranked bulls and really consistent at it.
Jerome said it wasn't that long ago that you were digging around in your closet and found something of Lane's.
Oh yeah, I had his hat. His straw hat that he the day he got killed at Cheyenne. Anyway, I had a van and we was in my van up there. They took him to the hospital and I got all his stuff together and put it in the van, and Tuff and Cody, they flew back with him, and I drove the van home. And I stopped in Kermit. My mom lives in Kermit, and I stopped by to see her. And I had all Lane's stuff, and I was fixing to go rodeo. I didn't want to take all Lane's stuff with me.
Right.
The chance of it getting stolen or whatever. So I just put it in my mom's closet. And I had his gear bag and his clothes bag and he had a hat box, had a couple hats in there. I put it in there in the closet. And anyway, I went back a little bit later and got it, but I didn't get the hat box. I guess I had the hat box up in the top. It was setting up top anyway. I didn't get all his stuff and didn't realize it. I didn't realize it for like years and years. Well, anyway, I was at my mom's house and for some reason I opened that closet door and that hat box was up there. I'm thinking, what the hat is this? But anyway, I opened that hat and it was Lane's hat. Is his straw hat that he was wearing that day. Hadn't been out of that box since that day. Like,
wow.
Still had the mud on it. It was rainy that day.
Dang.
Still had the mud on it, because it hadn't been open since that day. It's like 20 years later.
Wow.
So anyway, I got a hold of his folks and sent that hat back to his folks.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. Clyde gave it back to Clyde. And
Yeah.
that must have been a surreal moment holding it.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird when I opened that box, seen that hat.
Yeah.
But
kind of like just take you back for a second, I imagine.
Yeah, sure did. But I was glad to get it back and felt bad. I didn't see it that day, or whatever. Didn't realize that they didn't have it.
Yeah. Haven't had it all that time. That yeah, I'm on my mantle. I've got my dad's hat where when he was picking up at a rodeo and he passed and it was in Helotes and muddy and hit the ground and his was a heart attack, but he anyhow I've got that hat on my mantle. It's got a big mud spot on it on the crown of it, and anyhow, Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's a pretty weird feeling when I opened that box. But
just not
that was-
expecting at all to see that.
yeah,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then just a blast from the past.
yeah,
You were thinking it was going to be one of your hats or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because I had some hats that I had up there one time, and anyway, there's a few other hat boxes up there. Which I got a hat. I got a hat that I won when I was a rookie in 1986, a Resistol 20X.
Uh-huh.
That's never been creased.
Oh,
I
dang.
still got it. Yeah.
Tall crown?
No, I don't think it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because just back then, they all had tall crowns.
Yeah.
Was it this tall?
I think it was. Maybe it was that tall.
Maybe about this tall right
Yeah.
here.
That probably has to come in a different box, a little bit bigger box. Yeah, I seen your hat over there. I seen you wearing that the other day.
What about the buckles? Were your buckles ever this big?
No, but I wasn't never the greatest like Dale Brisby was.
Yeah. Yeah, champion this year.
Champion this year. Yeah.
Timeless.
I do have a buckle nearly that big.
Really? Yeah.
Uh,
Where's that one from?
I don't even remember it. I didn't win it. I won it. I mean, I bought it from somewhere just because it was so big.
Yeah.
I was going to give it. I was going to. I don't remember what. You know who Jay Cooker is, the singer.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to give it to him or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I had a plan for it, but I can't even remember. But I never did see him.
I used to use his song as my
That's right. Wrote it.
my
Yeah.
intro.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
He's a good singer.
He called me to give you a hard time about it. But he I want to say his fiddle player lives like 5-6 miles from here.
Oh yeah.
So when you were coming on the scene, that was how many years after Don Gay?
Just a couple. Because I think he won his last world championship. I want to say like in 1984.
Was it?
And then I want to say, I think that's right. I'm not for sure, but it wasn't too long after that.
Was he somebody you kind of tried to emulate or watch when you were younger?
Well, I never said see them guys. You know, I just knew who they were.
Mm-hmm.
The only time I seen them was if they went to the rodeo at Odessa. I got to go to the pro rodeo at Odessa one night a year. If they happened to be up, I got to see them ride there.
Mm.
And at Pecos, I get to go to Pecos Rodeo. But other than that, I never. And the national finals on TV, they put it on. They had one round on TV back when I was a kid.
Dang.
And so I never really seen any pros. I just knew who Donnie Gay was. I mean, because
Right.
he was the best back then.
I guess Cowboy Channel wasn't
No,
filming every rodeo.
Yeah, Cowboy Channel didn't even insist yet.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have any really heroes because I never got to see anybody.
So
I just knew who Donnie was.
you wanted to be a bull rider for so long. It's crazy. Like that's how little of interaction you had with rodeo, but you still wanted to be a bull rider that bad.
Yeah, and I don't even remember, I don't know what really made me. I had some uncles that rodeoed that rode bulls and broncs, but I was riding calves when I was 5. My dad roped. He never did enter. He just roped for a hobby, and he'd rope his calf and go down there and tie him. And then when he untied him, he'd put me on the calf with a picking string. And that's how I got my start. But as far back as I can remember, that's all I ever wanted to do, ride bulls. I don't know what really made me want to do that.
Where it started.
Where it's just like, that's all I ever wanted to be.
Yeah.
I was eat up with bull riding. And then like if I got to go to the rodeo, Pecos or Odessa, it was a big deal to me because but the only one I remember back then when I was younger was Donnie Gay. And I think, well, I hope Donnie Gay's up tonight at Odessa or Pecos. And like I said, me and my dad, it'd just be me and him out there, him roping and me. I'd open the gate for him. Work the chute gate, and he'd go. Then I'd run down there and get to ride that calf. We did that, and my dad, was always supportive. My whole family was. Like I've always had my mom and dad behind me, and my dad, he hauled me up and down the road when I was little to all them rodeos, and really fortunate to have the parents I did. But that's all I ever wanted to do was be a bull rider.
What's that song called? Is the song called Jim Sharp? Is that your ringtone?
No, I don't. I don't really have. I don't really have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, you hear people say it enough.
Yeah.
Oh man. um they Jerome said you used to go to church a lot in Stephenville.
I do. Still do.
Still do. He said back then they had a church in the bar. One night you fell asleep in there and woke up and they were having church. He said that you like to go to church there in Stephenville all the time.
I don't know about that story.
Yeah.
That might have.
I'm going to tell Jerome he's making stuff up.
I was going to say, yeah, there's a lot of them stories. The older they get, the more better they get.
It'd have been a bust.
Yeah. Yeah, them stories, which makes them a better story. But yeah, I've heard some stories that I'm thinking, I was there, but I don't remember all that part.
Do you remember him getting in with you after Odessa? It was like the first time y'all, I think it was Odessa, but it's the first time y'all, he got to go with you.
Who's that?
Jerome.
Jerome Davis?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that.
He said he remembers it like it was yesterday, just because, you know, how much of a fan he was of you. And he said I doubt Jim would remember that first time, but you had asked him to just jump in with you for a weekend or something.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was after Odessa or sometime around then. And that was one of his first times that he and then he said, you know, later started, you know, you guys started the PBR. He said it could have been Robin Banks. He was just gonna, whatever you guys said y'all were doing, he was gonna do it with you.
Yeah, because he was a little bit younger
Mm-hmm.
than we were, so you know we were kind of his heroes, I guess. But yeah, Jerome, they don't get much better than Jerome.
He was on fire, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and he had a pretty good streak going when he got hurt.
Yeah, he could really ride, but also as a person, I mean, he's such a good guy.
Yeah.
And I look back at his rides now, and I mean, he made some really good rides.
Mm-hmm.
But he was awesome.
What do you think about the mentality of bull riders as a whole compared to the you know, you got to watch Donnie Gay's era. You were in just one of the, if not the greatest era of bull riders. And then, you know, late 90s, you're still riding. And then early 2000s, now into 2024. Like, what do you think about the mentalities of each of those generations?
Well, I didn't get to watch Donnie Gay very much. Just I know
Here and there
how much he won, and I mean world titles he won, and I've seen videos later on. But you know, I think the top guys, I think the top 5 guys in any era were about the same.
Mm.
After that, it kind of drops off a little bit. Saying who's the best bull rider ever, it would be hard for me to pick because just different times, I guess.
Yes, sir.
But like I said, my favorite ones were Donnie Gay, which I didn't see him ride a lot, but I know to win 8 world championships takes some doings.
That's a lot.
Takes a lot. And Tough Hedeman, I watched him for a long time, and he's one of the toughest I've ever seen because I got to actually watch him all the time. But I've seen some other guys like Justin McBride and Chris Shiver. They're pretty much about all the same to me. They're just different times.
Mm-hmm.
J.B. Mooney, depends on, and the bulls they got so many good bulls now. Whatever bull it is today, the rankest bull today, I would put my money on Tough Heedham or Donnie Gay or Justin McBride, or, if they were riding in today's bull riding.
Yeah, they're still going to be competitive.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if you go back farther than that, Jim Shoulders,
mm-hmm.
I never seen him ride, but he had to be great because he won,
He had to be just as tough.
He had to be just as tough to me. You know, he just nobody seen him ride.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever seen him ride. You know, the
Right.
few films of him. You know, and they probably didn't ride as good as bulls, but there wasn't back then. But if there was, they would have been riding them.
Yeah, all you can do is ride what's in front of you.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah.
There's lots of greats.
Yeah. Whether it's Jim Sharp,
Just
Dale Brisby,
I was gonna
J.B.
say
Mooney.
just because I just go at Dale Brisby. He's on a different level, so
Right,
I don't even.
Yeah. 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 It's really more who's after that.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Who
Well,
wears
you got Dale Brisby here, and then you got another level, and then another level under him. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, well, it's neat that I mean, you're always in those conversations, and we see them being had, and like you said, it's always a hypothetical just because, Donnie Gate, you would just have to put them all in the same, but regardless of how it's actually settled, it's just I'm sure it's neat to be, because that's like Ty says Jim Sharp, and so it's neat to hear that. But what's intriguing to me is the consistency, and I think that's one thing that has to be attached to any great bull rider, is just how you're able to do to ride correctly and fundamentally every time. And what was it about your bull riding that it seems like they just weren't able to get you down quite like other guys did? Like, was there a certain fundamental that you were better at? Was there a thought process behind that as far as like the way you held on to bulls?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that answer. My job was to stay on. I don't really know how to answer that.
Yeah.
I just made it pretty simple. I didn't
keep your chin tucked.
Keep your chin tucked, and you got that position you're supposed to be in. They're gonna get you out of that position. Just try to stay in that position the best you can. If they get you out, go back to that position. That's what I tried to do.
And then you didn't. It seems like you were a little better at not getting out on the end of your arm.
Yeah, that's one thing I never got way back there. If I got back there, I was gonna get bucked off pretty much. But I see a lot of guys that get reared way back. Some guys, very few can get away with it. J.B. Mooney could do it.
Right.
Tom Murray could do it. But not a lot of guys could do that. And they get back there, they're going to get bucked off pretty much. But I don't know why they didn't raise me up.
Yeah.
I pretty much kept my chin down and stayed down pretty good.
Who have you seen through the years that you feel like has a similar riding style as you?
I don't know. I think Sage rides really good, controlled ride.
Yeah.
I don't know. Chris Shivers and them guys kind of rode like that. He never got reared way back. But he did a lot of more moving than I did. He kind of stayed. He never got on the end of his arm. Seems like.
Who riding you think rode the most similar to Tough?
I don't know. He might have a style of his own.
Yeah. I've heard people say JB and Tough were kind of similar.
I don't think so.
Really?
When I watch JB, I don't think of Tough.
Really?
No. If I watch JB, I think more of Lane.
Yeah.
Riding. I guess they're built a lot alike, and they remind me of each other more than anybody.
Yeah, I wish I could go back to those. I mean, I often like to think of like what it might be like if a camera crew could have followed you guys down the road. But I guess one film that they did kind of follow y'all to is Del Rio.
Yeah.
Was that just you just had to go there, even though it was an open bull riding? That was just a stop you guys were going to make all the time.
Oh yeah, I mean back then, that was the greatest bull riding there was.
Yeah.
They had the greatest bulls there. Is good money.
Yeah.
That was probably the first big bull riding there ever was. We all loved to go to Del Rio and ride there.
Yeah. Was that one of the bigger stops for Mac? Wasn't it Bad Companies
It was.
bull riding?
Yeah.
Was that, or were there other bull ridings of Max that
No, that was,
compared to Del Rio?
no, but there was back then. There wasn't nothing that compared to Del Rio. Back in the early '80s, I would say. And when the Bull Nanza at Guthrie, it come along, and it was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the first two I remember. But yeah, Del Rio, it was the first one that I remember that was really, really good, and everybody wanted to go to Del Rio. Everybody wanted to win Del Rio.
Yeah.
Just because it's Del Rio.
Right. Were you able to grab some of those Bad Company buckles with the big bull head on it?
No, I don't. I never even won one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I remember as a kid just thinking that was the coolest thing that existed.
Yeah.
Like just with that down horn,
Yeah.
looking buckle. What was obviously the gold buckle, but outside of that one, what buckle probably meant the most to you?
Well, Del Rio's one of them. Everybody wanted to win Del Rio, and just the world buckles. I like Del Rio. I got Cheyenne buckles. Pretty proud of them to have one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably them two, Cheyenne and Del Rio.
Yeah.
Was the buckles I wanted.
Right. Yeah. Was Salinas always
the PBR, but I never got one of those. But
you made, though, was it 7 NFRs and 7 PBR World Finals, right?
Yes, I think that's right.
I guess, was it the timing of your career was probably you had to go to probably less bull ridings to make the PBR World Finals just because there were probably less of them. So did that play into your hand as far as like where your career was at?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just, when the PBR come along, I'd rodeoed for a while, and there at the end, towards the end of my career, I could go to PBRs on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
I could be home. I didn't like to travel as much as I did when I first started. So my timing, was pretty good, because when I first started, I'd rather go to a rodeo every day.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, I didn't want to go to a rodeo every day. But then the PBR come along and worked out great because they were just pretty much on the weekends.
Yes, sir.
And I could go ride and, then go home and work around the house for 3 or 4 days.
Yes, sir.
So my timing was pretty good. I got to do both, which you could do both now, I guess, but it'd be a lot.
Right.
A lot of conflicting schedules probably.
Yes, sir.
So
how many perfs were y'all going to in the early days of making it to the NFR? How many bulls were you getting on?
We'd probably get on. Well, I think we'd go to around 100 to 125 rodeos a year.
Dang. That would be, I mean, I don't know how many a guy went to. I don't feel like there's that many guys going to that many these days.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many.
I don't even know. I don't even know really. I just see it a little bit on TV, but I don't keep up how it works now.
Yeah.
I think it's changed a lot.
Did they all count back then?
Well, no, you could count 125, which that's pretty much, we never went to more than that anyway. We might have went to 125, but if you went over that, the money wouldn't count. But
you bet.
We never had that problem, going over 125. We go right up to 125. But
yeah.
a lot of them, like Cheyenne, I don't even know how it works. It used to just be everybody got 2. They'd bring 15 back to a short go. I think they got works a little bit different now.
Yeah,
but,
kind of a semifinals
semifinals or whatever.
bracket format.
So
Yeah, I'm not sure all the reasons they are switching to that. It does seem like part of it, just an observation, it seems like it gives the crowd a winner for that day.
yeah,
Rather than have to keep up with. I know that's not the entire. There's also ways guys can make money throughout. I don't know, but yeah, the long go, short go.
yeah.
Seems like
That's always the way they were back then.
Yes,
The big rodeos, there'd be usually 2 head in the bull ride and then the short go. Just the big, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston.
And then obviously, except for the NFR, it's just who can do the best on 10 in a row. What sort of, I guess you being able to ride all 10, like, what was your mindset before? Ty says you're eating hot dogs before each bull ride. Like, it just seems like it didn't phase you. You just had the exact same mentality on every bull, no matter where you were.
Yeah, pretty much. I went there to ride, and I didn't worry about it a lot. They always kid about me showing up with a hot dog, which I always liked to eat before I rode. So I'd go to the concession stand and get me a hot dog. And nothing really bothered me, and I'd get on, and if I won, it was great. If I got bucked off, I didn't let that get me down.
Mm-hmm.
I just went on and went to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't worry about that a lot. Some guys, they worry about it a lot, and then they get fighting their head, and they go changing their bull rope and all that. And to me, I knew how to ride. I just got to put the effort in to do it.
Was the hot dog because you liked to eat before, or you didn't want to be hungry getting on?
I don't really know.
Because I there's nothing I hate more than getting on with an empty stomach. I hate being hungry if I'm about to ride.
Yeah, I guess that's probably mine too, because I didn't like to be hungry when I was getting on.
I've never thought of it as actually just, but man, that feeling where your stomach, to me, it was such a distraction. And some guys, like, they don't hardly eat anything before ever, but it's not that I necessarily wanted a full belly, but an empty one, that sucked.
Yeah, I didn't like, that's the way I felt. My body felt like if I was hungry, I wasn't as strong,
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Which you are probably, but in your mind, you think, I need something to eat, makes me stronger.
Yes, sir. Well, we usually wrap them up with life advice. So what is something that, whether it was bull riding or getting through, what's something that maybe has kept you going? A phrase, or even just in your own words?
I don't even know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess for me, my dad raised me the way, if you're going to do something, put as much effort in it as you can.
Yes, sir.
He was always real humble about everything he did. And that's the way I try to be, and try to be the best at whatever you're going to be.
That's the advice you might give your son if he were to go down this bull riding path.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Or any path he goes down.
Yes, sir.
It don't matter to me what he does. And it's nice that he turned to be a cowboy, because we get to do things together. Like my dad was behind me, I'm behind him all the way, whether he's playing basketball or riding bulls or whatever he wants to do. Mm-hmm. I just want him to find what he likes to do and go at it.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I'd love to meet your boy sometime. So we'll have to get him some caps and shirts or something.
Yeah, I'll have to bring you by sometime. He'd love to come by, and I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Well, when you come in, if you bring him into the warehouse, we usually do free shipping. So I offer you that deal.
Okay. Yeah. And,
that's the deal that today only, by the way.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool deal.
I appreciate you having me. I said I could probably ride bulls a lot better than I do interviews.
Yeah. Well, some say the opposite about me, but I don't. I don't. But
yeah.
All right. Well, good deal. Well, thanks, Jim. It's been an honor.
You bet.
And on to the next one, everybody. Pow, pow.